Welcome to your deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at the art of war.
Yeah,
It's a classic for a reason,
absolutely.
but how many of us are really out there planning any sieges anytime soon? So how can we actually use Sun Tzu's wisdom in the modern world?
Well, that's the beauty of this work. It's about so much more than battlefield tactics, right? Sun Tzu gives us this framework for thinking about strategy and leadership and even psychology
Mhm.
that applies to pretty much any competitive situation.
Okay, so before we even get into specifics, let's lay the foundation. Sun Tzu talks about these five constant factors in war:
Right.
moral law, heaven, earth, the commander, and method and discipline.
Yeah,
It's quite a list.
it is a big one. And it really highlights how Sun Tzu believed that understanding these factors could actually predict whether you would win or lose.
Wow.
Take moral law, for example. It's all about the leader's bond with their people. If you have that strong connection, then you have loyalty and unwavering support. Sounds a lot like leadership in a company,
Yeah.
or even in a political movement.
Totally. And that's just one out of five. But hold on, I found this other part really interesting. Sun Tzu gets into the actual economic burden of war. Like, it's not just about troops and tactics.
Right.
He gives this example of a 100,000-man army.
Okay.
Imagine all the chariots, the armor, the food, and he calculates the cost at 1,000 ounces of silver per day.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a staggering number, isn't it? And that detail just really shows how Sun Tzu was really a pragmatist.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't just about these flashy maneuvers. He understood that resources mattered.
Yeah.
Prolonged conflict drains everyone, even the winner.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that, we can apply to anything, from business deals to even arguments with your family.
Okay, so we've got morale, logistics. This is getting pretty intense.
Yeah.
But then Sun Tzu just drops this bombshell. He says the best general doesn't even fight. Like, what?
Right. It sounds so counterintuitive, but think about it. He's saying the highest form of generalship is breaking the enemy's resistance without a fight. He talks about disrupting their plans, preventing alliances, picking your battles very strategically.
Mhm.
And he really drives this home with a pretty intense analogy. He says that attacking a fortified city is like swarming ants. A third of your men will be killed before you even take it.
Okay, that's a vivid image.
Yeah.
And not in a good way. But I get it. It's like he's saying choose your battles wisely. Pick the ones that you can win decisively.
Yeah.
And avoid getting bogged down in these costly, drawn-out conflicts. Whether it's a negotiation or a new project, sometimes the smartest move is to find a way around the conflict entirely.
Exactly. And that leads us to one of the most famous principles from The Art of War. All warfare is based on deception.
Wait, so Sun Tzu's telling us to be sneaky.
Well, not necessarily in a malicious way, right? He's talking about being strategic, unpredictable. Think about it. Appearing weak when you're strong, creating diversions, making your opponent misjudge your intentions. It's about using every tool at your disposal to gain an advantage. And that doesn't just apply to battlefields. Think about negotiations, marketing campaigns, even just navigating everyday life.
Right.
A poker face, a well-timed white lie, these are all subtle forms of deception.
Okay,
Just can't-
that's kind of mind-blowing. So Sun Tzu is basically saying, always keep your opponent guessing.
Exactly.
But deception is only one part of the equation. He also talks about the importance of adapting your plans to the situation, right?
Yes. He uses this analogy of water flowing around obstacles.
I like that.
You need to be flexible, ready to adjust your strategy as circumstances change.
Right.
If your initial plan hits a wall, you got to be able to find a new path to reach your goal.
So we've got preparedness, adaptability, a little bit of trickery. What else?
Well, Sun Tzu was really big on intelligence gathering. Knowing your opponent, understanding their strengths and weaknesses, that's crucial for making smart decisions.
Yeah.
He actually outlined 5 different types of spies:
Wow.
local, inward, converted, doomed, and surviving.
Okay.
Each one served a specific purpose in getting information about the enemy.
Hold on. 5 different kinds of spies.
5 different kinds.
This guy was serious about intel.
Oh, yeah.
What I find fascinating is this doomed spy,
Oh.
the one that intentionally spreads false information to mislead the enemy.
Right.
It's like a disinformation campaign straight out of the history book.
It is. And unfortunately, those tactics are still very much in play today. Think about how easily misinformation can spread online. It's just a reminder that being critical of the information that we consume is more important than ever.
So what does all of this mean for us? And, in the real world, where most of our battles aren't fought with swords and shields,
Hmm.
how do we actually apply these ancient principles to modern life?
That's the key question, isn't it? If we can connect all this to the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Sun Tzu's really emphasizing preparedness, adaptability, strategic thinking, and calculated risk-taking. These are all valuable skills no matter what you're doing.
Right.
These can help you navigate challenges and achieve your goals.
So it's not just about winning battles. It's about approaching every situation with this strategic mindset, being prepared for different outcomes, looking for opportunities, and always trying to outmaneuver your opponent. That's a pretty powerful way to think about things.
Exactly. And there's one more critical takeaway from The Art of War that I think is often overlooked.
Okay.
Sun Tzu constantly emphasizes minimizing casualties, even in the midst of war.
Okay, tell me more. I'm curious.
It highlights the importance of finding win-win solutions whenever possible.
Yeah.
While conflict might be unavoidable sometimes, the goal should always be to achieve a favorable outcome with the least amount of damage for everyone involved.
Wow. That's a really powerful insight. It's like he's saying true victory isn't just about defeating your opponent. It's about finding solutions that actually benefit everyone involved.
It really resonates in today's world, right? Where everything's interconnected,
Yeah.
collaboration and cooperation are often more valuable than outright competition.
Okay, so let's recap what we uncovered in our deep dive into the art of war. Sun Tzu, he was all about preparedness,
Yeah.
adaptability, and, yeah, a little deception when necessary. He understood the importance of intelligence and choosing your battles strategically.
Right.
But maybe the biggest takeaway is this idea of minimizing damage, finding those win-win solutions
Absolutely.
whenever you can.
And remember, The Art of War, this isn't just some dusty old scroll, right? It's a timeless guide to strategy and success. These principles can apply to any area of life where you face, challenges and competition.
So what does all of this mean for you, the listener? How can you apply these principles to your own life? Think about your career, your relationships, your personal goals. Where do you need to be more strategic? Where could a little adaptability or maybe even a well-placed poker face come in handy?
Sun Tzu's wisdom reminds us that every interaction, every decision is a form of warfare in its own way. And understanding these principles can give you a real advantage in navigating the complexities of life.
It's like he's giving us this secret weapon
Yeah,
for dealing with all those everyday battles, big or small.
absolutely. So embrace the wisdom of Sun Tzu and remember, victory favors the prepared mind.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the art of war. We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring. Until next time, stay curious, stay strategic, and keep those minds sharp.